start with you, Nigel. What does the right attitude look like in a sporting environment?
The right attitude.
What does it look like?
So, we spoke a little bit about this, I think, previously.
No, we haven't.
No, yeah, we have. We have. You just weren't listening. So one of them is communication. But I think the right attitude looks like, if I'm at training, it's not giving in, not giving up.
Cool.
Regardless of what the odds are against you. Like I said, we used to do triathlon there training. We used to do a heap of swimming. I don't know what pools you had in Wainuimata, and what you guys did in the swimming pool down there, but it wasn't following the black line at the bottom of the pool. Did you have flippers?
Another story.
Another story.
Another
we don't
story.
have flippers. Yeah. But I'm saying, but if whatever cards are dealt your way and whatever sort of they ask of you, I think if you don't give up, that's the attitude you need to have to be able to sort of get better, right? And I didn't realize it till later on where you have to be uncomfortable to grow. That's where your growth is, right?
I agree.
But being uncomfortable is different for everybody.
Yeah.
So I think just learning what it is for you to be uncomfortable, and then sort of flipping the mentality around, you know what? I must be learning something here in life because I'm really uncomfortable up these sandals, on 30-second turnarounds, stuff like that. But I think that's probably it for me. It's just not, and that's a mental toughness.
Yeah.
Because that mental toughness will help you in all situations, on and off the field.
Oh, yeah, I think mental capacity is a big deal. Even
it's
right
massive.
now. So you,
it's
Tana.
huge.
Well,
It's huge. It's the main thing now. That's the difference maker now. It's your ability to handle, work under pressure, your mental fortitude to still do the job that was given to you under extreme pressure. That's the job now.
Yeah, but say if you said earlier, you didn't get fit till you're 24, right? But you're still playing top level rugby, at a pretty high level. But your mental toughness would have gotten you that far. But for you to get fitter, it got you even more tougher. And then you have your breakout year and you become an All Black. Right? So it's always kind of there, but you just have to keep pushing it.
100%.
If I looked at you as a coach now, it might not apply because I don't know where you're. I think you're that sort of a leader that your players identify that and they know. But when I'm talking about having the right attitude, if you look at a team drill, right, and a certain individual that you think is not cracking at 100, are you going to give that person, that player, are you going to pull that player aside?
Me personally, I will. It's something that, that players need to understand, that's the thing. Attitude's everything. It's the way you apply yourself to anything is everything to us. It's not the actual, the drill itself. It's just how it might be, I want you to walk from here to there. And then if you're walking like, that's a tell for us that Jesus, even giving you a simple task is...
Sure.
And in the past, it'll be, back up the sand dunes, you want to do it like that. Yeah. Now, it's, what's wrong? Is that normal? Do I have to have a discussion with them because something might have happened this morning that we don't know about? Because if it's not normal, so we are watching, we're judging all the time. That's our job. And, I think if we go back to the question, around that attitude, or what are we looking for, those traits that we're looking for. I'm looking for competitiveness. I want athletes that want to compete every day because that's what you'll need to do. That's the opportunity that you have. You're actually competing against other people, the person that was like myself when I just turn up and I say, I'm just here to go through the move, and the one that does the back hopping, the behind the back and just too busy talking and not focused. They're not there to compete. They're comfortable. They're just happy to be there.
It's important for young athletes to know that the coach is always watching. There's always eyes on. It's not just what you're doing in the training drill. It's whether you're in a huddle with the team or whether you're talking to your mate at the back. Right?
Yep, 100%.
Just want to make sure athletes, or young athletes, if you're listening to this, and parents who are watching this as well, for your young athletes, it's not just your talent that's only going to get you so far. The role of the village, the parents and the wider families of these young athletes. How much involvement is too much involvement?
So what village are you from?
I'll give you. I saw.
Shout out the village. You got to shout out the village, man.
Shout out your village.
Your
Sangone.
connections to the islands.
So my connection through my mother, Sangone, so in Savai.
Yeah.
That's where I get my matai from, Whaalongo. And then Awhenga in Apia, that's where my grandmother was from on my mother's side.
Yeah.
And then on my father's side, I'm from Laulemoenga, Tuai, just not far from the
Sick.
airport.
Yeah, that's
Sick.
where all the Ola Balik ones are.
I heard
They
that.
get sent on
I heard.
a plane
I'm not
back to
looking at the,
Laulemoenga.
I guess I'm not looking at the extended village. Right? I'm looking at your immediate family.
That's a good question. I didn't actually expect the other bit that came at the end of it. I was going, oh, yeah, no, the villages are full. Then you,
Yeah, right. We've touched on it actually throughout this chat.
Yeah.
I saw this thing last night actually. Ronaldo Muritalu, he plays for in the NRL for the Sharks, and he's in a preliminary final. This episode might be after the fact, but he had to say no to his extended family to come over. When I say extended, I'm talking about 25 plus, because they wanted to come over and party with him. They wanted to come over and be with him and celebrate this important occasion. But he had to go, no, I got to go to work.
Yeah.
I can't have you as a distraction. But the families want to be a part of their journey, and they want to be a part of your success, especially for Islanders.
Did they ask him to pay for them?
I don't know if they asked him to pay for it, but,
Yeah, that's different.
but you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get
So how much involvement is too much involvement? You must have seen some stories, seen some families where they get too involved in their young athletes' journey, or they need to be more involved.
I think,
With the line.
Or yours?
yours.
Well, that's a tough question, eh? Like in
a good
terms
one,
of
though,
mine,
eh?
it is a good one, man. It's a good one. Oh, shucks. About time,
It's already been half an hour. We've been talking for half an hour. There's one.
Carry.
Because there's how much and how much is too much.
Yeah.
And I just think it's a tough thing to answer, really, because it's when and I think too much is when it gets beyond the player. Instead of just helping the player, you're trying to make either live yourself,
Build a new church.
yeah,
Live yourself through the player.
through the player
Yeah.
itself. Your hopes
Yeah.
and dreams. That's the tough thing. Like, if it's all about the player, then
Have you seen
that's
that a
great.
lot?
I have, yeah. I see that a little bit, and I think, too much is just and not enough. Just not giving them the nudges to do the little bit extra. Look, for me, from my personal view, none of my children have played footy. Followed a sports career, and that was my choice. I never pushed them to play sport, although, my son, he played rugby and rugby league coming through school.
Yeah.
And as you know, like, it's tough for our kids too, because they expect them, because of their last name,
Yeah.
they should be good. And I think the positive thing is, because of, similar to my wife, they've got strong, sense of independence. So I'm me. I don't want to be. I don't need to be anyone else. So they know how to handle that.
Yeah.
I think. But I did wish there were a couple of times when I wanted to.
Did you say no in your career? Like in your journey, you have like
A lot.
Yeah,
I was good at it,
When did you
to be
have
honest.
When did you have to learn that though? Saying
What
no
context-
to
in what
the
context? To the
if
family
someone's
or to-
to the family. If someone says,
Yeah,
"Listen,
yeah,
so and so is getting married, everybody's putting in $200, but Tana's going to put in 12,000." And we need it next week.
Just give me your gift card, Tana,
You know
please.
what I
I'll just
mean?
go down to the ATM.
Because we all, because there's a perception out there. As soon as you're on TV, especially in NZ, if you're an All Black or you're a professional athlete, okay. As soon as you're on TV, we're all millionaires.
Yeah.
Okay, sweet. So you know what? Who wants new shoes? Who wants new? It's like Oprah. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's not really like that. But I mean, so I think everyone has to learn to sort of. Firstly, learn how to sort of talk to their own, your own parents or your guardians or whoever is in your sort of family unit, your immediate family unit, and then you can start sort of dealing with the next layer and the next layer. Because it's like as soon as you get a profile and become an athlete, then you have just got 400 new uncles and aunties.
Of course.
Yeah.
Well, how did you do it?
And they know how to contact you because it's all over the media. It's very easy, actually. They just send a message, you know, to New Zealand Rugby or New Zealand Rugby League, and then it goes straight to you.
Yeah.
I made it really clear to my parents, around how it's going
When
to
you were
work.
12 years old.
Well,
After
you know,
like-
I guess they sort of help when
Yeah,
you sort
'cause I
of
made
pushing
it
back on your
later.
culture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, exactly.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, you know, I was very much not,
Yeah.
you know, right deep into the culture at that stage when I was coming through, and I was very much, you know, who? I don't
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
them. Sorry,
Yeah.
Nah, can't help them. And what I did, you know, I got used to saying no, and they got it. My parents got it. My siblings got it, and they told our cousins and said, no,
Yeah.
don't ask him, man. You can,
Yeah.
but I can tell
Good
you,
luck.
yeah. You know, and because I was really strong in that.
Yeah.
But what I did is, you know, as you do, I had a plan around how I would support my mum and dad. You know, I put them on a wage. This is my mum. What you do with this is up to you. That's your money. You know, if you want to give it to, you know, that's up to you. But that's
When was this in your career?
as soon as I became,
Professional?
yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
You know, looked after mum. I moved them out of their house, bought them a new house. You know, this is how we'll look after you.
Yeah.
Everything else will be looked after. Again, you know, what you do with your allowance is
Yeah,
up
yeah.
to you.
Yeah.
You know, and then I'm a mum's boy, so you know, now and then mum would, son, you know, son,
Yeah.
you know, 5,000.
Your cousin Sella rang up.
You know,
He
if
wants
they
to
came
go
through
to
my
the-
mum, they all knew, and then my sisters, and I had really good siblings too, you know, because they were everyone was working. I says, you don't have to, you know, if you don't want to, so you're, you know, like, and then mum's going to ring you, say no, just say no. And then mum, son, okay, what you want, you know, and then just try and get it out of there before my wife sees it or something now, you know, but that was very rare,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, and then, but you know, not some of the ABs or, you know, that they were going through that same thing, and obviously they didn't have that plan or they didn't have that ability to say no.
Yeah.
And I remember sitting down one time when we were in the All Blacks at lunch, and after lunch I had all the Island boys on, and I just talked about this, what I just talked to you about. Look, learn to say no. It's going to be tough. I know what our families expect of us, even though this is the first time I'm going to be here, at the All Blacks, and obviously you get more money once you become an All Black, but you don't know how long you're going to be here.
Yeah.
So you'll first, look after your own family, what you can, understand what you can give, and just give that, and just say, look, this is what I can give, not what they want, what I can give. And I try to help. I just gave them some advice around, having a plan for that. And just making sure that they don't lose out themselves. And there were some stories around some of the boys that have just gotten, oh man, mum wants this and dad wants, and then all of a sudden my uncles, and they were more steeped in the culture than I was.
Yeah, that's right.
They felt a real, I have to give it. I have to give it.
Yeah.
And so I was just trying to help them.
Yeah.
What suits you. Understand them. If you can, have a discussion. Say, look, if I give that, but then I'm not going to have anything for me, and I might not be here long.
Yeah.
And for some of them, they only were there for a year. A year or two.
But that's the fine line, eh? And that's the fine line that we found in our space was like, when you say no, if you're saying no to your culture, is that saying no to yourself and your own identity and where you're from? Because, it's almost like, you're really proud of your culture and you're really proud to be Samoan or Tongan or Fijian or Niuean or Tuvalu or whatever on this side with these things, but not of those things. And it's like you're picking and choosing which side of the culture. So if you're sort of, for the guys that are sort of, or athletes or young kids even, they don't even have to be an athlete, like you went across it. Come across that sort of stuff. It's just, it's like that communal mentality of success, eh? So it's like, when one succeeds, we all succeed, right? But it's sort of similar to the, you've got a new jacket. Now we've all got a new jacket. Oh, now we've all got an All Black tracksuit. That's awesome. You went on Tuesday, I'm on Wednesday, and expected to turn up for the game on Saturday. You know what I mean? Like, because what's mine is yours. Yeah. That mentality, which is the same as the pay packet. Right? So what's mine is yours, and it's like, but this is a different world. We're navigating this Western world, but we still have our cultural sort of values that we're trying to navigate at the same time, and doing it in the public eye.
Well, let's pull it back. And not even in the public eye. I mean, obviously you've seen it throughout your career, and now that sort of stuff doesn't go away. But your advice to young players, young talent, young Pacific talent, who are maybe experiencing that right now. I mean, you say you got to learn to say no. Again, with all respect, it was like it's easier said than done sometimes for these young people. So, what's your advice? I guess because this is just the villagers listening to this as well. So, I want you to be frank and honest to the village who are supporting the athlete. What's your advice to them? What would you like to say to them for a young athlete who's trying to make their way through the whatever and go professional?
Well, I think it's a good point because that's something that we're talking about now. It's actually educating the families not to ask.
Yeah.
So what would you say to the parents, really?
So we need to educate the parents. It's understand one contract doesn't mean much, and because it's like the levels of contracts are all different.
And when you take away tax,
there's not much at all.
What is that?
So what are we? Have a real understanding about what are we trying to do? Are we trying to get him all the way through, or are we going to be a hang up at the first step? Because we're all, as we say, it's not. We're here to open the door, and then after that, the next step is to bring people through. But I can't get through the door if everyone's holding me back. And a lot of it is our family, and and what you're saying and what we've come across, and this is something that we want to do is, it's not the player, because the player won't say no at 18. Everyone knows that. Not unless you're, someone probably like strong enough to do that.
Yeah.
But no, it won't happen.
Yeah.
So then we've got to educate the parents.
Good.
Yeah, that's right. And the people around them, right? So
it's
that community.
That's right. It is that community to understand that.
Yeah.
And that, yes, once he gets it, that's not the finish line either. That's the same thing we're telling that young 18-year-old. Says once you get here, no, you're just at the start now.
Yeah.
You've got a long way to go. So, again, we've got to tell your village or community or your village, or, keep working, keep helping him through because the job's not done.
Well, and then especially as well when they have to deal with disappointment.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you've touched on it in this chat about you. I guess, you got a proven track record that you knew where your talent was and you identified, okay, well, they'll stop picking me. Okay, I'm here. Well, okay, I've got to keep fit. You knew that. But there's a lot of young athletes now who are competing with so much of a talent pool that's even changed since you were playing, Nige. And you're competing with all this talent and dealing with the disappointment of not making a team time after time after time after time again. I'm sort of trying to navigate that with my eldest son, right? For his rugby journey. So, I mean, as a parent, you say the things that they want to hear. You say the things that you think that they need to hear. But, as a kid, you're going, what, Dad, you keep telling me the same thing, but I'm still not making this team. Be patient. It's okay. Look at my wife. I've said how many times? 5,000 times. So, your advice to that young man, young lady, young woman who's trying to deal with disappointment over and over and over and over again. He maybe not has the mental fitness and toughness that you had to go, okay, I need to step up and do this.
Well, I go back to taking ownership of your career. Why aren't they making that team? Have they had the discussion, going back to Nigel's point about communication, have they had a discussion with the coach, and, like that's something that I didn't do when I was 18 or 19. I'll just keep doing what I'm doing then because, I don't know why I'm not getting picked. It's your fault, not mine.
Yeah.
But until you realise that actually, if I take ownership of my career, then I just need to ask him, can I have some feedback, please? Why aren't I playing? What do I need to work on? And that's a good thing to have because then the coach sees, wow, he wants to get better. He's not just going to sit back and allow, circumstance to hinder his growth. And that, sometimes that's the hardest thing is when our young people have to go and ask someone at a senior level because culturally that's not done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, that's probably for them just to really take ownership. They've got to take ownership. It's their career. And as you said, man, it's a dog-eat-dog fight out there.
Yeah.
So if you're not, and the time that you've got, you don't want to have any regrets. That's what at the end, I wish I knew I should. And like you're saying, be patient, but actually, I just want to. I need to know now because I know this. You know, my window's short.
Sure, yeah.
And then you're being really targeted around the areas that they want to see. And then they see that he's interested. So he wants to get better because he's invested in himself. Because don't forget, they've got 30, 25 other kids that they're watching as well.
Yeah.
The ones that want it, and I go back to that competitiveness. So they want it. They're going to come and So sometimes there's ones that overdo it, and you just think, hey, I've told you that yesterday. It's the same thing that I'm going to tell you today.
You know what's good about what you just said there? Because in a roundabout way, that's what my wife and I have been telling our children. But because it's come from you, and it's out there now from the coach of Moana Pacifica and a former All Black captain. Can I just say the first Pacific Island All Black captain? It's going to mean something in the kids actually. The young athletes are going to resonate with that. Because I'm looking from the village. I would love to know. I would like to think that we hammer the same messages. But when it comes from somebody else sometimes, and somebody who holds a little bit of mana as well, it means a little bit more. Because they hear the same voice over and over again.
And isn't a warm-up coach.
No.
Have you heard of a warm-up coach?
Did you have a warm-up coach?
It doesn't necessarily have to be someone who's achieved because I went through the same thing with my son at a young age. And I was an All Black then. And my son was wanting to kick, learn to kick and kick a rugby ball.
Yeah.
And he was asking my brother-in-law, who's never played rugby in his life, he's Canadian and basketballer. He's a good man, great man, my brother-in-law. But because it was someone different, and someone that's telling him the same thing, and I had to sit there and watch, as my Canadian brother-in-law, it's like it was a good message to me. I was going, so stay in your lane, mate. You're just dad when you come here. You know what I mean? And then, but I was watching it, and I was going, should I just come back with Gay Carter? I can give you some tips, mate. But you just bite your lip. So it doesn't necessarily, it's just, like sometimes parents just have to be the parents and let these other people do that job.
Good advice. Good advice.
Okay, so I got a question. Which is
you're going to finish asking your question by Tuesday?
No, I was just thinking, because one of the as you're going through your ranks, right, and you're sort of getting more and more profile, you become an All Black and all the rest of it. Did you feel a lot more cultural responsibility to the community because of your new stature? And the high, and then like Sela said, eventually becoming the first ever Pacific All Black captain, right? Which is cool. But even before that, just being an All Black or just being a profile athlete, a different stature culturally in the community, come with a different cultural responsibility. Did you come across that?
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, because we, and they, like it's okay, sweet. We want to welcome, Tana to. This happened to me. Well, we're going to welcome Nigel to church today, and Samoan church. So he's going to come up and say a few words in Samoan in front of everyone in the church. And because my uncle was a pastor in Lakemba, right? PIC, this is Sydney. He knows it, and my cousins know it too. And I'm sitting there going, "Oh, we've got a special guest here." And then he's going to come up and say a few words. Well, honest, And then they went, and so Nigel, can you please come up? And I'm like this.
All I know is my
we're in church right now, and I sort of didn't realise the impact of it. I kind of knew, but I sort of that was a different level of cultural sort of, I guess, respect. But at the same time, okay, sweet. Now, Tana, can you do the, the prayer in Samoan in front of Obama, who's visiting from, and the Prime Minister? Did you get a lot of that sort of stuff?
To be honest, no. Only because I never went to church. My parents knew that. No, I'm not putting.
Well, not even in church, just anywhere. Culturally.
100%. I probably didn't realise, and as I said, I was distanced from the culture until late. Shucks, maybe in the last 10 years. And so, even though when I was, the first All Black captain of Pacific descent. I didn't even know that. Like, I saw myself as I'm a Kiwi that's Samoan, and so I definitely understood who I was as a Samoan. And where my parents came from. But in terms of that culture, I didn't really get that. I got it from a different angle. Like when I went to the funerals of my of my wife's family.
Oh, okay.
I got to sit on the paipai, you know. So usually it's, you know, the kaumātuas or the elders of, and then I was just, I turned up and I was.
Oh yeah.
Come right
at the front.
And my wife my wife was just, oh my gosh, what are you doing up there? Can't even, you know, like And it was just, you know, I was just, don't make me speak, don't make me speak, don't make me speak, and you know, I didn't have to speak much. I just, you know, they just acknowledged me in that context.
Yeah, but that's the same as everybody stopped.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll just wait for them to walk through the middle.
That's it. Come from that side.
Everyone just be quiet. Tana's here, and he's going to sit right there. Okay, now
you know, and then,
but that's how it's like.
That's right. Yeah. That's how it starts. You know,
and that's everywhere in the world.
And then, you know, when I became captain, it was funny. I'm the youngest of 5, and then we'd have these family meetings, and then all of a sudden, okay, Tana. So then my dad, you're the leader of our family. Just like that. It was just
Did you turn to Mike and say, Mike, I'm the captain now. I'm the captain now.
And it was more my sisters. And then I was just looking at my sisters. He's not the, you know, 'cause I'm the youngest by a long way. You know, my
That's what family does, eh?
Yeah, but I was cracking up because there was no, they always knew, like, I was always the youngest. Just because he's all like captain now, he's moved all the way to the
captain. You're not our captain.
And then my sisters all go, yeah, sweet. Now you start paying for all that other stuff that I was. But you know, just, you know, those are kind of. But I think as I got older, and it was really, you know, like I got a more appreciation of what our culture was after that. You know, like again, as I said, man, all I knew was, what we see, not necessarily the bad things, but you know, like what for me then was the bad things are the whalawe-lawe. People,
a lot of it was forced.
Yeah, that's right. A lot of it was forced, and you know, as I went through my rediscovery of our culture, you know, because you know, you start to acknowledge what happens when you're Samoan or when you're, you know, different to, you know, all those around you. At that time and moment, sometimes you just think, you know, those unconscious biases that you come across as, it's just, you know, that's just a little thing, it's not a major. And then you realise, actually, you know, when you look back, man,
it's a big deal.
It's a big deal, man.
Yeah.
And absolutely. I suppose as I grew, you know, when it became more, affected me a lot more. It's just not right, you know, because I go back, this fairness thing, I don't know where it comes from, but it's just come from my parents that's just not fair. Like, how can you do that? How can that be? You know, now, you know, in our space that we all live in now, you know, like, you know, probably no different that you live in your world is, like, we want to speak out on that. We don't want that for our people anymore.
Absolutely.
You know, I heard a good, you know, I talk about in our game is that we've been pulling this cart for so long. You know, we want to be able to drive it. You know, we want to make decisions that affect which direction this game's going in the industry we're in. And that should be in everything we're doing. We want to see people like us making decisions at the top. What did I hear the other day? It's we want to be at the table, not on the menu.
You know that one, right? You don't want to be on the menu, mate.
You've been on the menu for a long time.
You know,
nobody wants it.
Story.
Yeah, 100%. You know, and where we are now, you know, and where I am in my life, I think that's where I want to be now. I want to actually help, you know, not just affect the group that I'm with. I want to affect, you know, the future of you know, those people coming through.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's a nice place to sort of end it. I want to ask you, you know, as we end the Village Athlete podcast, this is for the village, and this is for the village athletes, you know, the young aspiring athletes who are hopefully tuning in to get some wisdom from you. There's probably a lot that you want to leave with these with them, and probably there's so much more that we could talk to you about. But what's something that you want to leave with them to take away from our chat today?
I think throughout our chat, you know, the key thing is, and I talk about a lot, is to our people are like, we live in a Western world. Now, there's no doubt about it. We have to learn how they live. And from those lessons is how can we better our Pacific people or the Pacific way we live. but in the essence, I love the saying, like, be unapologetically Pacific.
Yeah.
You know, be proud of who you are, because you know we've got a place here. People want to know about it. You know, I think in the industries that I've been across, and I see what we do naturally, they're trying to create in their areas. You know, so you know, I understand, like, you can put our culture over everything wherever you are. You know, and if you're unapologetically Pacific, be proud of that. You know, live your values. You know, our culture's a great thing, and it can, you know, it can help you in all walks of life. You've just, you know, that's probably the main thing. I have a Pacific lens over everything. I know we work in, you know, the industries we work in, and you know, you have structure, the structure that we have to abide by. It's no different with your one, but then I always overlay, well, my Pacific lens over that. How do we make that Pacific? How do we, you know, get this structured life that we have to live in, or this, you know, what we have to do in the works that we do? Well, how do we make that connect to our Pacific cultures? Because, you know, I deal with Pacific, and so I've got to make sure that we're keeping true to what we're about. And I love it. I think it's just, and it's easy. I believe it's simple because it's us just living our life, but also utilising what we've learned in these other industries to help us.
What a beautiful chat. You should come and host this with me. Because my other host is just useless. Tana.
Oh, man.
I've taken love also. That was awesome, bro.